watchman, as a batsman, I'm trying to come in and take some of your time. So anyway, that's also a challenge before speaking in such a gathering where some acknowledged person speaks and you have to come in and you have to make your own point. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable challenges, highlighting for the challenges, all those things. This particular seminar, I take it as a very serious turning point in terms of giving some directions actually. When you identify challenges, you start moving ahead. And the institution has done a wonderful job. And I have listened yesterday to Professor Rajput sir and to Ambas sir and also now to Rathod sir. And the challenges that we are talking about need serious attention, and we need solutions more of that are workable. And this particular topic that we are talking about, the quality teaching and skill development, to me comes more as a solution than a challenge. This, if you understand why we should be talking about the quality teaching and why we should be talking the need of skill development, we have answers to many of the challenges that we are talking. So therefore, identifying this as one of the topic, and identifying this as a very interesting, very serious topic itself is a very useful thing. And previous to this session, few research scholars have done a wonderful job by presenting on this particular theme, and that itself shows how important this and how relevant is this. And I take this topic in this sense. What actually I'll be talking about is, of course, we are talking about when we are talking about quality teaching and skill development, we are talking about in the context of higher education, and also we are keeping in mind what NEP 2020 has said, and it has got its own concerns about quality teaching, and also it has got some suggestions about the skill development. And more than that, what we have to be looking at is from the center's mandate, center's perspective. By attending to the very concept of quality teaching and giving attention to the skill development and higher education landscape, so what are the things that we will be doing? And this talks about, if you closely look at why we should be talking about, we need to keep the end product in mind when we are preparing our curriculum ourselves. Already the market is deciding what we need, where our youths are going and where they are functioning, where they are performing. So it's about we need to understand the 21st century workforce that we are talking about. So if we keep in mind the end product in mind, we will have some ideas. So if we are talking about the quality teaching and the skill development, these should revolve around, these are my own ideas, like maybe there may be some other ideas as well. Like for example, yesterday we talked about the andragogy. More than andragogy or more than pedagogy, whatever methodology that we are talking about, it's about how transformative those pedagogies. Which one is more useful, which one is more relevant. So therefore comes the idea of transformative pedagogy, which is not a new thing, but wherever my context, wherever situation is demanding that type of pedagogy if we are bringing. Then the second point that I will be taking your attention to is slightly differing from the views of previous speaker on the technology. So technology has got its own, technology has got its own, when we talk about technology for quality teaching, technology for skill development, both we need to understand this way. And I'm not advocating for technology, but technology can become if we are master of technology can become our good friends. So, and of course, as I said, 21st century workforce, we need to understand that one very well. And in the past also, various subjects, various programs in higher education universities are doing very good. Best practices are available in terms of industry academia collaboration, and how skill development is central in understanding how industry can give inputs to education, and how education can contribute to the industry kind of thing. Like industry academia collaboration can also come, and the action points that should emerge out of this discussion should be about the institute mandate, that is teacher training and professional development for quality teaching. How teacher training, not just about teacher training of our own teacher education, and we are talking about it. It's a great thing, it's a good thing that is happening with NEP 2020, that we from the teacher education department, we Department of Education, are getting more and more scope in terms of our own extension, in terms of going beyond our own courses and programs. So now there is a demand from other sectors as well to talk about the pedagogies and how science of teaching, as sir was telling, it's about instructional design, basically how we become better in propagating our own science of teaching, that is instructional design. So that way I am keeping these basically in mind when I am talking about the quality teaching and skill development. So I'll not take much time on what and giving what actually is quality. We all know this, and at the same time, when we know this, but it's at the same time it is very difficult to define what is quality teaching. If I ask you to write on a 2 line on you will see 100 different answers on quality teaching right now. I don't have to demonstrate that, but somehow we need to come to an understanding what actually we are talking about. So it is basically about, it is a rigorous teaching. Number one, what is your outcome out of the classroom situation? That's a different thing. But are we rigorously doing our work as a teacher? So that should be the quality teaching. And whether it's a teaching is a relevant teaching. And who will decide whether it's a relevant teaching? Relevant teaching in terms of methodologies, in terms of the content that you have chosen to impart. So therefore, ultimately these rigorous efforts and this relevant teaching is assumed on the suppose that the necessary knowledge, necessary skills, the attitudes are imparted to students in their own chosen field. They have chosen field. We have not given them this field. They have chosen field. If they want to pursue physics, so therefore they have to be equipped with the right skills, the attitude towards their own subject, this kind of thing, and the teaching has to be rigorous. That's the idea. And we are all good in our own classroom situations, and we have our own ways of making it better quality. So therefore, there is no dispute in understanding the meaning or how it looks. It's basically about it has to be rigorous and relevant, and it may include the practices of quality teaching. There are a range of practices are there. It's about innovative teaching practices, basically. How innovative you and me can be in our classroom situations. How we are incorporating real world experiences. Basically, it's about real, especially when we are talking about skill development, it's about real world experiences that we are talking. So it's not about being theoretical in classroom. It's about application of what you are talking about. So that has to become very important. If you have noticed, I don't know, my age is 50. 20 years back I started my teaching. So when initially I used to take classes, students used to depend on my class notes. Recently, 5 to 6 years, I have seen students are not bothered to not even take the notes in the classroom. Maybe they are taking audio notes, I don't know, but they are never bothered about from where you. So because they have the better access to the sources than me that I can search. So therefore, the things that we can relate with them in terms of their requirements, in terms of real world experiences, the efforts that have to be made by the teacher. And we need to provide students with the feedback then and there itself. That lot of efforts we do. And ultimately it's about trying to improve. Not just learning. I always insist it's not about your grades or marks. How you have learned, that's very important. So if this is the understanding of quality, without defining what is quality teaching, we can go ahead. Then I take your attention slightly, only one slide about skill development. It talks about competencies, it talks about practical competences rather. It is about individual who performs effectively in the workplace. And we all know so many, especially those graduates who complete engineering from very reputed BTech colleges and all. Again, they go for some soft skills training before, and even when they go for a job, again on-job training takes place. That means there is some mismatch between what is being taught in the classrooms and even in the engineering graduate colleges and actually workplace. So ultimately it's about the specific skill. It's a skill which is a specific, it's a skill that is needed for complete to that particular task. So which is very difficult to understand actually to what exactly, because the range of skills are there. So that becomes very difficult. And general skills like for example communication skills, which is very simple, it looks very simple, I tell you, communication skills. Recently I was in one place, I should not be revealing where I was, but the individuals were thinking that I will be asked about my content knowledge in terms of my spoken skills or through my presentation. But the gentleman there was asking them to write 4 lines. He was not even talking, asking them to write only 4 lines on half a page, 4 lines. So they were failing like anything. It's not about communication, does not mean about spoken communication. It's about written communication also. Even if I ask you to write 4 lines, I will be able to make out. So therefore, these which we think is a very simple one, communication skill, or even problem solving skills, or of course, if you go higher order, critical thinking skills, and the skills we need about working in a team. Ultimately we have to work with others, and of course everybody cannot be leader, but at least we need to be leadership skills. There could be many skills that when we are imparting our own domain knowledge, are we taking into consideration these things? So therefore that becomes important. This helps these skill development, and this helps students to develop these competencies through like experiential learning, hands-on, and various subjects based on the demand of the subject, projects. In some areas, some courses, there is a connection well established between industry and academia partnerships. Through these gaps can also be filled. So that way I take these two concepts connected with each other: quality teaching and skill development. And relevance of quality teaching and skill development in higher education, we all know this. We don't have to talk much about this, but it ensures graduates prepared for the demands of the country. If we are committed in terms of quality teaching, if we know what skills to be imparted, what we are doing is we are making them ready for the work. That's the only thing that is happening, and the best thing that is happening. And it is essential for employment. It is very basic, central to employment. As sir was telling, so many they go for seeking jobs. And I see, especially PhD in education, I'm telling with due respect to our PhD, they come with, by the time they come out with PhD and they are seeking jobs, I observe them with a very low self-esteem. Why they is happening? Because maybe the lack of skills and the self-confidence on themselves. So therefore, it is essential for employment wherever they are. And of course, this skill development is central to social development and economic development as well. This is for nation building, basically. It's not just about individual we are talking. We are talking about nation building. If we are talking about nation building, it's ultimately it happens in the classroom through our quality teaching, focusing on skill development. So therefore, if we have this in our mind, it makes us, or it helps in prioritizing the teaching and the skill development. In whatever program we are teaching, whatever courses we are dealing with, yes, this is my priority. The priority is I will be teaching this manner, I will be teaching this way, and these are the skills I am going to impart. In what way they are going to be helpful, that's a different thing, but I should be knowing that also. So therefore, success in their career, success there in workplace has got connection with our classroom practices. And we are responsible. So keeping this in mind, and I just try to look from how and what NAP is talking about quality teaching. We all know this. I'm not repeating, just I'm putting in front of you. NAP 2020 wants to promote innovative and effective teaching practices. It has been telling, and we have been practicing this. It's not that suddenly something new has come. So we have been practicing this as teachers and policy. strongly emphasizes this, that we should be going for effective teaching practices, and we need to adopt learner-centered and outcome-based teaching methods, which of course focus on critical thinking, problem solving, and creativity. This we should be focusing on. That is what is being done. And importance of teacher training and professional development to equip teachers with necessary competences to deliver quality teaching has been emphasized very well. That is an important aspect of the policy, and we from a teacher education department should feel proud about this. And we have a lot of work to do from this point onwards. And in terms of skill development also, policy says to provide students with a broad-based multidisciplinary education. When we talk about multidisciplinary education, maybe this is also the thing where you go for extra skills that are needed, and which enables them to develop a range of competencies. There is a range of competencies. You may be good in A and B and C. Maybe you are also required for B, D, E, F also. So therefore, the range of competencies that are required, if you focus on only one domain, maybe you will be lacking. And these days, I observe, maybe this is your observation also, students are taking up not many online courses. In addition to their normal classroom teaching, they are beyond their domain. They are taking not many. They are spending a lot of money and their valuable time also. So that itself shows that there is a need for themselves. They are learning. My own students, they tell me, come and tell me, I'm writing down the notes from the TEDx speeches, how to speak well on platforms. And in fact, I'm learning from them the very finer points they make, how to open, how to do. So there is the young population that is aspirational, want to do not many things, and they need also too many things that they are looking from our experience. So policy also says being interdisciplinary and experiential learning opportunities should be given, enable students to develop practical skills and competencies, and of course the importance of industry academia. This is very important. Wherever, whatever subjects we are doing, not many universities there are best practices. I was just googling, not many best practices are available in various subjects. So we can bring in all those best practices and put in, and these can become lessons for some other places where these can be what to say. So in terms of, and once you see those best practices, at least we can align our own curriculum, our own syllabus, our own practices. So even if you are not doing, at least you can imbibe those qualities from the practices that are done. So these two things that policy is talking about, quality teaching and skill development. Now I'll be quickly talking about what actually transformative pedagogy is about. We all know it's basically an approach to teaching that gives importance, that says this is the highest priority for me in terms of critical thinking, creativity, and purpose. If this is my purpose, then I will not go. It's going beyond the traditional methodology of teaching. It's an alternative to the traditional way of teaching. If I've been teaching through A method or B method, now I will invent a method which is C. So it has to be your classroom practitioner's invention, basically. You have to invent. If that is my goal is, I'm dealing with the students, not just about the content. I'm talking about the content and how the content is relevant to the students in terms of problem solving or in terms of critical thinking or even being creative. If that is the case, and these are the traditional methods I have been following, and let me go for a newer things. So that a classroom teacher has to invent. This we have been doing to happen. So active learning strategies that various subjects depending upon the discipline very well can be used. These case study methods, role play, group discussions, simulations for example, project-based learning can be very well implemented into the content that you want to impart, flipped classrooms that you can do. And the other part is technology integration. When we say technology integration has to be taken in a neutral way. It has to be taken. Why I say this is, See, again, when we say technology integration happen at least in this context in a two way. One is for quality teaching. Another is for technology for skill development. And you yourself will appreciate the idea that how important the technology, the power of technology, if we talk about the skill development. When our attention is, when we are talking about skill development, technology of course. So, not many technology enabled learning world is altogether changed, and now we should be talking about personalized learning. We should be talking about collaboration. Students are they are collaborative learners with each other, and they have unlimited access to information and specific training. Okay, you name anything, technology can come in to your desk. Technology can be very good slave if you use it in a very and simulations, virtual labs, gamification through gamification, even online simulations. In a way, pandemic has taught us many things, the possibilities, the bad thing and good thing, whatever, how we take it, but pandemic has given us the possibilities. These are the possibilities which we were not knowing otherwise, right? And coming to industry academia collaboration, this is very, for any practitioner teacher at university level, it is very important where my students are going. We need to understand. And there have been best practices happening. We just need to open our eyes towards the best practices that is taking place in different subjects, different domains, different places. In some places there may be less industrial opportunities. That's a different thing. But partnerships between industry and institutions become very interesting. MOUs we should be going for. Promote skill development in these aspects. And this will help align our own curriculum, our own syllabus, our own educational system. I don't represent University of Hyderabad, but my students, Department of Education students, MA students, they are already BA students, right? So not many institutions, private international schools, they come to us and they look for some skills in our students. They frequently they don't want the candidates who are teachers. They are looking for some other curriculum development, content managers, some other things are also emerging, which we were ourselves were not knowing. Yes, our own MA students can be, BA students can be very good managers out there in their schools. They are getting very good salaries, and this will help bridge gap between what is happening in terms of practice and what is happening in our own institutes. We were not focusing much on this course on curriculum, say for example. So now curriculum transaction, curriculum planning, curriculum designing, how curriculum content written in instructional design, how it goes on. So it's about practices that get affected into our classroom. For this, hands-on training, exposure visits to industry, inputs from industry experts, and facilitating exchange of ideas, promote research and innovation. Very interestingly, if we start doing research, I honestly tell you, we do many dissertations. When we do dissertations, we ask the students to go to, and through internship also. So when students go when students go to schools for data collection, when they are even for internship, when they come back, when we have discussions, I tell you honestly, I submit that I learned many things from our students when they make their own presentations. So it's about something there in the field, not in our textbooks. Textbooks are very well written by very well experienced experts. Now they can become the starting point. But the real practice that is taking place in our schools, I'm giving one example of our own teacher education institutions. The best practices are happening in out there in the field, and we can go there and our own students can observe them. So therefore, and even internships can play a very important role. And ultimately, in terms of action points, so it's about implications for the very idea of this concept of quality teaching and skill development, ultimately it has to come down into this institute's mandates actually. If we talk about Indian institute's mandate, it's about going beyond our subjects. It's going beyond. Entire country is looking at our, so therefore keeping teachers up to date with latest teaching practices and methodologies. It's we who can be better in terms of researching and talking about it. And we need to, like they need to go their own subject matter expertise. They have to have. Okay, not many refresher courses in their own specific domain. And very importantly, it's about promoting culture of continuous improvement and innovation. It has to be culture. Yesterday when I was listening to the self-appraisal report, I was, maybe sir was speaking with pain actually. It was about the pain that it was reflecting. It's true, I also felt very, very sorry when he was, in a low tone, he was telling about the self-appraisal. आपने क्या किया पिछले 3 महीने में, 6 महीने में, खुद अपने से देखो. So it's about culture which is lacking in our workplaces of continuously working and improving ours. So these type of teacher training, if they can focus on attitudinal changes in terms of bringing in a new culture and sharing of best practices and collaborative teaching projects, we can collaborate with other universities, engage in peer feedback and review, and of course this can be done through workshops, conferences, the way it's being done, seminars, even online courses. Institute can think of having an online course of some basic courses just to begin with. So these kind of options are available, and with this I stop here, and I thank you so much. The idea basically is this: the central to many of the challenges that are coming is keeping in mind the skills that are required in the market and how we align ourselves into our curriculum, into our practices. That's the idea. I thought I tried my best. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.